Let's talk about Apple, guys. An important day for Apple, trying to lift the entire market back to the upside here off of what was an absolute blowout report in only the way that Apple can. I mean, all of the numbers were great. All of the forecast was great.
Yeah.
What do we do here? And is this something that we can kind of lean on?
Ooh. Oh, man.
Lots to unpack.
So, everyone's sort of been talking about it's like every single segment was gangbusters, with the exception of, I think it was like iPads. But then
No, it was the only one that missed, I think, was the Mac.
was it the Mac? Or
Was it the Mac or the iPad? Oh, great. Now we're
either way, they blamed it on being blamed on some supply shortages. And one of the things, I mean, Cook acknowledged that inflation has been an issue. But hey, guess what? Their margins were fine, baby. That's what you want to see. So that's exactly what you want to see. Like, can you maintain your margins when you have those costs going
I don't mean
up?
to interrupt, but you are right. The only thing that missed, it's 7.25 on the iPad revenue versus 8.2. So they miss iPad.
But everything else was blowing it out the water. And I think there's just nothing bad you could have pointed to in this report. And guess what? This was the first big earnings. And I know Microsoft was up the next day. But what you wanted to see was just the market saying, let's go right away. And let's not even, there wasn't even any kind of a pullback. Instead of let's sell it off and then gap up the next day. No, it was just right to the upside and then breaking out up 5% today. So has this caused maybe a little bit of a temp bottom? I don't know. I just know that Apple is a name that I think is going to work in all environments. I understand people are going to say there's still some expensiveness to it, but they check all the boxes. They've got the ecosystem. Again, they're able to pass on increased costs, and willingly so. And that's because once you're in that ecosystem, you're gonzo. They also have a lot of diversification as well, which is a strong suit for them. I already talked about how strong their margins are. It's just, and they've already proven that they can win when it comes to supply chain. The only nitpick, and this is an absolute nitpick, is a lot of names recently have been beaten up because of their guidance, and Apple's still not giving it post-COVID. So I guess what we can't say is, well, it didn't matter that their guidance didn't blow out because we don't really know what the forecasts were. We've seen great reports this time around get beaten down because of poor guidance. So I guess there's that one little tidbit, but I think you can hang on to this. It's not at a price level where I'd be buying the dips, but I think that 58 on the daily would make some sense. But either way, it's just everything to love about it. I just wish, I just want for this to be at least a temp bottom or cause a temp bottom, but we have a lot of other earnings to still go.
Yeah, I mean, my take, I don't have too much to add to that. I mean, we have the daily chart here. You're bumping up to the 50 period is at 170, so we're pretty close to that. You're not going to find a tech stock really worth owning right now that is above the 200 period even. So, today's NASDAQ bounce of 1% is definitely helped by this Apple trade. Look, their largest ever revenue take, right? Sales up 11% despite having these supply chain issues. They expect, Tim Cook did speak a little bit, although they didn't guide, he does expect supply chain issues to improve, as I think we all do, in the next coming quarter. Look, when your biggest issues are not being able to get enough chips because of supply issues, that's like a great problem to have. I mean, it's a problem when you don't have demand for your products. It's a problem when maybe you can't make them fast enough, right? And that's sort of what you're talking about with the supply chain. They have too much demand. And if they had more chips, they might have been able to sell more. We got that report in early January that they were having supply chain issues. So I'm really surprised that they were still able to put out that 11%. And I just think that I'm seeing more and more ads for them. I think that there's over 200 billion in cash that they're sitting on so they can acquire somebody. And I think right now in this environment, honestly, Brendan, you want to be able to have cash on hand because there are so many depressed assets right now. We saw Microsoft come in and scoop up ATVI. What's next for Apple? I've hinted at Netflix, but I mean, that could get their streaming service going. And then all of a sudden, I mean, you want to talk about recurring revenues. They already have your money every single month. People subscribing to iTunes, their watch has different features. There's this service now, the credit card that they have with Goldman Sachs. What if they had Netflix? I mean, what they wrap that up, they bundle that all up, guys? I mean, it's pretty ridiculous. So let's see what Apple does. They're sitting on cash. This is a name to own.
Whether you are a fan of the products or not, or have any of the products or do not, you cannot deny the importance of Apple in this market and the strength that it is providing not only today, but should going forward here. So it remains to be seen, but let's see what happens going into March and this interest rate hike after this Apple earnings report.